Hi everybody, it's Cindy from Ideas Times 2. Welcome back to our channel. I have part 2 of the lap book cover tutorial. Last time, just to recap, we did the outside cover and did a 4-fold, painted it, did a top stitch and 2-inch spine, 1 inch on the inside. And today I thought we would do the inside. So just of the construction of the cover. The decorating and all of that will come later, but I wanted to show you how I did the construction, and I'm basing this on the work of Andrea at Artie Mays. So let's take a look at the inside, and this is a project I'm working on for a gift, and I've already obviously started the decorating. But what we're going to do today is make these little tab sections here. This is where the flip outs will be attached, and the Traveler's Notebook style junk journals that I made are going to go here on the inside on these elastic bands there, and on the other side there's another one of these hinges for the flips. So that's kind of what I wanted to take a look at today and show you how to do that. So I'm going to put this to the side, and we're going to start with the hinges, and the hinges will go one on the right side, and we're going to do another one to put over on the left side. So what you need for that is and then a reinforcement for the center spine. So what you're going to need are 3 pieces of cardstock, and measuring 4 inches wide, and the height of your book minus about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. And so mine is 4 inches by almost 11 inches, and I have 3 of those, and one for the center, one for the left, and one for the right hinges. And so one of these, the one for the center, you can just set to the side. We don't need to do anything with that. But for the hinges, you're going to need to score your paper to make the hinge. And so it's 4 inches wide, and you're going to want to score at 1.5 inches, and again at 2 inches, and then again at 2.5. So set that one aside, grab the other one, and score this one just the same at 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and 2.5 inches. I'll move my scoreboard out of the way. And for these, what you're going to want to do is fold them, and so that you have you're kind of making a W with the center one up and one on the left going down, and one on the right. So you're kind of making a little W, and this will be going to glue that together, and that will be your hinge. So I always do the center one first to make sure that I don't forget what I'm doing. So the center one, fold the sides down, and then on the left side, fold that up, and the side up, and on the right side, fold side up. Grab your bone folder, make sure everything has a nice crease. Do the same on the other one. And then you're going to want to glue, and whatever kind of glue you want to use is fine. I'm just going to use my Fabri-Fix. I went to Hobby Lobby today, and they no longer sell Fabri-Tac at my Hobby Lobby. That was just frustrating. I had, I don't want to say a rough day at work, but I had a field trip today, and even though we went to a play, we were on the bus for a couple of hours each direction, and then sat through the play. I don't know, it's just exhausting, and it doesn't help much when it's over 90 degrees outside again today. And you know, it's supposed to be the first day of fall. Not very fall-like outside here. Although tomorrow it's supposed to be in the 80s, so maybe a little bit of a reprieve. But still not warm enough to, or cool enough to wear my fall clothes. Okay, you want to make sure that this is adhered really well. Do the same thing on the other one. So after that exhausting day at work, and the play, and I really can't complain, the play was great. The kids were fantastic. My students are so wonderful. Ran to the post office after work, and then ran up to Hobby Lobby, and I was just going to run in and pick up a couple of things, and it was just a very frustrating trip. Because they didn't have any eyelets either, of all the crazy things for them not to have. Not one eyelet in the store of any size, any color, any brand. And the woman in that department, I asked for help, couldn't tell me why. So I don't know if somebody bought them out or what the deal is, but so I have hardly any eyelets in the colors I want. I'm working on a couple of journals right now, and I want to do decorative stitching on the side for to sew in my signatures, and I wanted to use eyelets. I want a little bit of metallic elements, and no such luck. Alright, so once you have your two, basically your hinges, you're going to grab your book, and you'll want to glue these down and center them in the middle of your left spine and then your right spine. I don't score these before I glue them on because it is so hard to line up, at least for me. If you have a good eye, you know, go ahead and score ahead of time, but I don't score until they're glued down, so I don't have to worry about making sure everything is lined up. I can just glue it in and you know, make sure everything is lined up and neat after it's glued in. So if you watch the last tutorial, the part 1 on the outside cover, and then now this one, you'll notice that making this cover is very glue intensive. You want to make sure that you have plenty of glue. Make sure this is pressed down well. And then you'll want to score following the lines that are already there. Right on the fold line. All right, and then you'll want to do the other side, and we'll go ahead and do that so that I have this done. And a little bit more glue. Sorry about the shadows today. It is evening and you know, after work, so not a whole lot of daylight left outside. But I work full-time and then some, and this is going to be a long week, and I didn't want to have to wait till the weekend in order to get the second part of the tutorial done. And just like the first one, make sure everything is glued down really well, and then see my line up there. Score following the fold line on each side. Whoops, kind of went off the deep end there. This is another place you might have to get a little fussy. Make sure that it folds well, it's glued down well. On the one I already have finished, I painted this. You can paint it once the glue is dry, if you'd like to paint it, or if you want to use just decorative papers. That's fine too. I think I'm just going to leave this because I'm going to cover this with paper, and probably something like that. So not much of it is going to show, and it's going to be, I'm going to have some flips here and that, so it's not too big of a deal, but something like that. And then we're going to fuss with this side a little bit. Do the center, the spine, and so that's going to be centered here in the middle of your 2-inch spine. And the same thing with this one, I do not score it before I put it on because it's just too fussy trying to make sure you have everything lined up. So just glue this down with whatever glue of your choice. I prefer Fabrifix or Fabri-Tac for this. I think art glitter glue might dry too fast. You know, glue stick I don't think would work really well for the same reason. It kind of dries before on one end before you get to the other end. So just make sure it's pressed down real well and score it on the fold line. if you want to make, use decorative papers, or if you have a theme or whatever, go for it. So at this stage of the game, if you are using I used a heavier board, a chip board. If you're using cardstock and you want to do a top stitch, now's the time that you would do that, so that you can, once the glue is dry, of course, make sure that this is all in here securely. You just want to do a stitch all the way around. I am not doing that because I already did a top stitch, and I'm using the heavier board. And I'm just going to do a couple of bends there to make sure that everything is good. And then if you would like, this is the time that I would glue in my papers, and so that I can get ready to start decorating. I don't want to do that on camera because you don't need to see more gluing. I've already done enough. Excuse me. And the next thing that I would do is excuse me, I probably would do the eyelets. If you know what size notebooks you want to put in, I think now is a good time to do that. My my notebooks are quite big, my traveler's notebooks, and let's see if I can find some eyelets. All right, there we go. So these are eyelets I got at Hobby Lobby a couple months ago. None of them are the colors that I want to use. So, and they're really all I have left, which is why I was looking for them earlier today, and then they didn't have them. So, with the eyelets, these are the tools that I use, and I would just measure up from the bottom. I don't have a lot of room. I made my notebooks I think 10.5 inches tall, so I would just measure, see, the spine is 2 inches, and put one at 3/4 and one at 1 1/4, just up a little bit from the bottom. I think about 1/4 of an inch on mine because I don't have a lot of room. And see, on the third line, so 3/10, and up on the top at 3/4 and at 1 1/4, and 3/10 from the top. Looks about right. And punch my holes. I love my Crop-It-Aisle. It is so handy. Sorry, that's off screen. I don't have enough room. So I'm going to flip it and give it a couple of punches. And then I would add my eyelets, but I'm not going to add the eyelets right now because I don't like these colors. So I will have to wait until I get some in the mail, since Hobby Lobby didn't have any today. But that's kind of the order I would do things. You know, the 2 hinges on the outside, the reinforcement in the center, a couple of hang on a second again. Let's see. I do have a lot of eyelets. I just never have the colors that I want, and I'm so picky. So yeah, I just don't think any of these. I don't really like the gray with that. And I know I don't have enough gold or bronze or anything. The heck with that today, with my bad luck and my bad luck shopping trip to Hobby Lobby. So, really not too hard at all, was it? My papers are 8.5 by 11, and just a couple of little, you know, maybe 1/8 of an inch off the top, so that they're not too close to the edge. And I will glue those down off camera because nobody needs to see that. And that's kind of the construction for the inside, and pretty simple. So I think I'll leave it at that today, since Saturday's tutorial was pretty long, and the inside I'm going to do a number of tutorials or craft with me kind of things for the inside with the decorating. And so that's all I have for today. I wanted something quick, so hopefully this was quick and comprehensive. So thank you so much for joining me today, and have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.